So one day before Bridgewater football takes on 18th ranked Thomas More, and we're here in Paul Brown Stadium, not where I expected to be at least today. We heard the team was going to get to do a walkthrough at the Bengals facility. I assumed it'd be the grass practice fields across the road, but here we are, and it's quite an experience for the team.
Went right past the Great American Ballpark, saw where the Reds play. We pulled past what I thought were the practice fields and right into Paul Brown Stadium. Kids are out here. They're actually warming up right now a little bit, doing some practicing, but just a chance to come out here on the field, see an NFL stadium, be on the field. I know they were kicking some. You were over there watching some of the field goals and extra points, and guys just getting out here and having fun, getting to be kids, really. Kind of a neat opportunity.
Yeah, I actually got my picture making a field goal, so there's that. Josh Cotero reenacted his two-point conversion against Catholic last year and then jumped into the crowd. So I think when you say acting like kids, it was a little bit of that. And now, behind us, the team is now going through their official walkthrough. Last week, one of the more exciting games, we've seen in years. So much to talk about with that, but, Bridgewater winning 27-24 on a 65-yard catch and run by Corey Jokum. No timeouts. They went 96 yards in the last 2 minutes. You just talk a little bit about, calling that last drive and what you remember from the end of that game.
Well, I think what might have been lost were a couple of plays that led up to that, or there wouldn't have been that play. I mean, you got to remember Brendan Meddery throwing out of his own end zone, basically, and having to get these guys. The offense had really kind of fallen apart. Brendan had come in, ran a real nice drive when he first came out in the second half, and then really kind of got stuck in the mud. He wasn't as accurate as I think he would like to be. Running game had stalled out a little bit, and then you kind of find yourselves in a do-or-die situation. I mean, they had to score a touchdown. There was no two ways about it, and they went right at it. Of course, the big play in the end, but converting a big third down and having to throw it. It was a passing down, and not much time left on the clock. You're out of timeouts. They had some if the scoreboard had been a little bit different, but did what had to be done, and Corey Jokum comes down with the catch, and then really the run after the catch that was the whole thing.
And tomorrow, Bridgewater will take on a very tough Thomas More team. Last year's group graduated their first team all-conference running back, graduated an offensive line that included an All-American and an All-Region selection. So you would have thought there'd be some major losses there, but they seem to pick right up where they left off, rushed for nearly 400 yards, put up 45 points, I believe, against Franklin. So Bridgewater's defense against Gettysburg was, sort of the unspoken story in the fourth quarter, making a couple stops, a couple big plays, Isaac Evans especially bringing up a couple passes, making an interception, and then the defense got us, four and out stop inside the 10-yard line to keep them in the game, and they'll need that tomorrow against a really tough Thomas More team.
Well, that was the critical moment. I mean, when the defense had their back against the wall, and I thought the worst thing you can let happen is a field goal. They didn't even let that happen. So really impressive outing by them, and it's going to have to continue that and be maybe even better as they take on a very high-powered offense, a returning quarterback who's pretty darn good. You had a guy who torched them, at wide receiver last year who is back, and as you talked about the running game, they returned a couple of guys. I'm not sure if the kid who ran big on last week for them is the guy who came into the year as the number one running back, but he's certainly taken the job. And they've got a 1 and a 1A. That's the problem, is they're a two-headed monster back there. The quarterback was pretty mobile last year. He didn't run as much this year in game one. I mean, it's one game. So it's kind of funny when you're looking at some of their stats and they're number 5 in the country in rushing. Well, I mean, it's 1 week, but they played no slouch in the first week. I mean, that's kind of one thing you want to look at. They played a pretty good football team and ran up all those yards. The other thing that had to frighten you is when you looked at time of possession, more than 45 minutes time of possession for Thomas More. And that's the kind of thing that will completely run down a defense.
And when you combine that, Thomas Moore's time of possession, along with what I thought was one of Bridgewater's issues late in the game, is kept losing yardage on first down, didn't really utilize Malavi Barker, especially when they were leading by 3 and really could have put a drive together to possibly avoid all the excitement at the end. So really, I think Bridgewater need to establish the run in this game, actually pick up some first downs, gain yardage on those first downs, and maybe they can keep Thomas More off the field a little bit to be in this game.
Well, they used Malley the way they were supposed to the last time these two teams played. They hit him with some passes, and he also ran the ball. Of course, the running game had to go out the window a little bit when you fell behind like they did later in the football game. But if you look at last week and what Malavi Barker was able to do, every time he touched the football, the average was plus 5 yards. So to me, that's kind of the way I look at it. He ran off a huge passing catch last time these two teams met up. He's a very dynamic football player. I think you want to put the football in playmakers' hands. You've got him on offense, and it's going to be up to Brendan Metairie running the show, operating the controls to get it into the hands of Rayvon Johnson, to get it into Malavi Barker's hands, to find Galloway at some point in this football game and create some problems. This can be a high-powered offense of its own. Give Thomas More a little taste of its own medicine.
So 1 o'clock tomorrow, just across the river, will be the big game. Check online on BridgewaterEagles.com, live stats and video stream link, but we'll also have live audio with yourself on the call tomorrow. And we hope
I'll do my best.
And we hope everyone can check those out. I know it's a long drive. We may not have as many of our fans or parents there in person, but check out those online links, and hopefully the Eagles can pull off the upset.